Welcome to the electrical plan of this project. It's been a while, so if you need a file like this one, I've added it to the comments below. But if you already have it or have something you're currently working on, we are just going to jump into this. So let's head on over to level 1 of our floor plan. And we see everything here, and we need some outlets, and we need some switches. Head on over to where it says component on the top. Click on that. Load family, go over to electrical, architectural, electrical power, and then terminals. And you're going to see a number of outlets and switches. For now, let's go for a single switch. That means a single switch can turn on a light or a series of lights. So I'm going to click on those. It should be loaded over here. And if you think to where you live, typically switches are closest to doors. So when you walk into a room, there should be a switch greeting you. So I've applied a few switches. Let's say though that we wanted to be able to control the lights from 2 switches. Then we don't want to use a single. Instead we want to use a 3-way switch. So if I headed over to electrical, architectural, electrical power, terminals, and then go to my switch 3-way. This is a switch that I could have at multiple locations. Like let's say I have one here and one over here, and I'm going to actually delete this one, move this one over. I can control the lights in this room via this switch or this switch. So it's kind of useful if you're designing your house and you want the architect to know what kind of switches you want installed there. Okay, we also need some kind of main panel. So let's go back to component, load family, electrical, architectural, electrical power, and distribution. We have an electrical panel. Let's select that. And typically electrical panels go either in a kitchen or they'll go kind of in a room with the water heater or with the laundry machines, things like that. So I'm actually just going to place my electrical panel on, let's say, this wall closest to my water heater. And those are all good. So let's go ahead and add some outlets. Component, load family, electrical, architectural, electrical power, terminals, and we have some outlets. The most common outlet used in homes in the United States are duplex. That means there are 2 ports to plug things into. So I'm going to use the duplex, and I'm going to, whoops, it didn't load in correctly for me, but I'm just going to look over here in my recently loaded items. There it is, my duplex. And I'm going to place some outlets in my house. Now, it is common practice for outlets to be placed a minimum of 6 feet away from one another, and typically it doesn't exceed 10 feet. So every 6 to 10 feet, even if you look around the room, you should notice that there is an outlet somewhere. And if there isn't, then, well, I guess there isn't. But we have a bunch of outlets. You might have noticed right away that I put outlets, but I didn't put any outlets in the bathroom. And that's because we typically need a special type of outlet for the bathroom. So I'm going to go to component, load family, electrical. We've done this, 4 or 5 times already. And we are looking for this one. It's an outlet. It's called a GFI. It's a ground fault interrupter. What that means is because there is water in a bathroom, you're not going to, electrocute yourself. Or I guess it's always possible, but you're not going to short a device that is using a GFI. I guess it's possible. I guess anything's possible. Long story short, if you're using something in the bathroom, you want a GFI outlet. So these are typically where? Nearest to the sink. These can be tested. There's also like this mini switch in them. So we usually have one near the sink. And we usually don't have any other outlets in the bathroom. So I just put one over there for the razor, for the hairdryer, things like that. But we don't actually add any more. Okay, we got this. This is looking pretty good. We probably also want some ceiling lights in our building. So let's head on over to our ceiling plans. Level 1, and I actually don't think I've put in a ceiling. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But if you haven't put in a ceiling, then let's go ahead and do that together. I would like you to head on over to Ceiling, click on that, and then go to Sketch Ceiling. And rule of thumb, I never use auto ceiling because it tends to cause problems. And if you like problems, feel free to mess around with it. I find that just simply sketching a ceiling by using like the rectangle or something works a lot better. So I'm going to go, and just the, wow, that was rough. Just the inside portion of my building, I am going to apply a ceiling. That's looking pretty good. I also like my ceilings to be a GWB on metal stud. If yours isn't, be sure to switch it in the property. That's just a more sturdy ceiling and it seems to work much better. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. And immediately I get this warning. I'm going to take I got the warning because I already had a ceiling in there. But hopefully when you hit that, you shouldn't. And I'm going to actually check my 3D view. And indeed, I did have a ceiling. But you shouldn't, so hopefully you are good on that. Okay, back at the ceiling. No ceiling is complete without ceiling lights. I actually placed a few in here earlier. I'm going to actually scrub those. So I do apologize. I kind of went ahead of you guys. Okay, but for ceiling lights, head on over to Component, Load Family, Electrical, and then, whoops, not electrical, lighting, architectural, and then we are going for some internal lights, and we have a couple ceiling lights, and let's use whatever you like. Down lights are fine, ceiling lights are fine. I'm just going to use let's try something new. A downlight strip. Click on one of those, and it's loaded into my house. And this is actually a really awkward light, but I'm going to add them to my home. Just a bunch here and there. They should load in just fine. And if they don't, definitely send me a notice so we can take a look at that. But yeah, we have a bunch of ceiling lights. We've applied them. Everything is looking great. So let's head on over to our floor plan. Level 1. And you're going to notice right away that we don't have our lights showing up on our floor plan. And typically we use the floor plan to design our electrical plan, so obviously this is going to cause a problem. Let's go ahead and make the lights visible. What I'm going to need you to do is first right-click on level 1, and then go to Duplicate View, Duplicate, and we are going to rename this extra copy we just created to Electrical Plan. And if you have multiple floors, go call it Electrical Plan of Floor 1. And we're going to hit OK. And inside this electrical plan, we're going to adjust the visibility and graphics such that we don't have things showing up that we don't want showing up. So what I mean by that is things like windows, we're going to halftone them. We're going to halftone our walls. We are going to turn off specialty equipment. I'm just going to turn off that check mark. And we are going to also hide, let's see, is there anything else? Doors, let's go ahead and halftone doors. And I'm going to hit apply, take a look at what's visible. You'll notice almost everything's gone, except for my water heater. That might be part of plumbing. So let's see if I can do that. Plumbing fixtures, and we're going to halftone that and hit apply. Nice. Okay, so everything's hidden except for our electrical. And I'm going to hit OK. And actually, we're going to do the second part of this electrical plan in my next video, because I apparently have a 10-minute limit now. I'm using this new software. But anyway, I'll see you for part 10 where we are going to wrap up our electrical plan. I'll see you guys later. Peace.